We thank you, Holy Spirit, for the strength that you continue to give us. And we thank you for the privilege of allowing us to be here today. Father, we know that you are the source of inspirations. You are the source, the fountain of wisdom. And wisdom is all we need to succeed in all our plans and desires. So, Father, I commit each and every life that is here into your hands. And I pray that, Lord, may you give us the spirit of understanding, the spirit of wisdom, and allow us to be even more inspired through our gathering here. Holy Spirit, I pray that may you please open our eyes, the eyes, Lord Jesus Christ, of our hearts and mind to new visions. Father, I commit everything that will be done here into your holy hands. And I believe that through your strength, your wisdom, your inspiration, your protection, and your guidance, Lord Jesus Christ, we will achieve the ultimate goal, that is success. The success that will not only benefit us, but that will benefit our entire community and society. Father, in Jesus' name, I thank you, for I believe that you've heard our prayer. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name, if we all believe, let's all say amen. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Evangelist, and truly, amen. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting the official program of this morning. However, do allow me to kindly do a protocol read out. The Minister of Entrepreneurship, Honorable Karabo Khare, in absentia. His Excellency, the Zimbabwean Ambassador to Botswana and team. The former Ambassador, His Excellency Tebogo Motsume. Director, Economic Empowerment in the Ministry of Entrepreneurship, Mr. Roni Putego. Leadership of CEO Africa Roundtable, who are also coming in from, I believe, Zimbabwe. CEOs and leadership from different industries, captains of industries, members of the Fourth Estate and the media, or known as the media, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Mudiri Mugende. Dumelang, Mangwanani, bonjour, and good morning. I believe my greetings covered everybody. Well, all greeted. Okay. Yes, I didn't. Oh, Huimora. Okay. Thank you, sir. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are welcome to the official launch of the CEO Africa Roundtable for Botswana. It was the great Warren Buffett who did say the best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. The more you learn, the more you earn. And that quote speaks very well to why we gather here today and the key objectives of the CEO Roundtable. We want you to learn from others and fellow CEOs from across the continent. As you grow in your leadership, the country benefits, also grows in expertise and network. Without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, kindly allow me to invite to the stage a woman who has been very pivotal in getting us all here. I believe we all kind of know her, or should know her. The interim chairperson of the Botswana chapter, Ms. Trifina Dongwana Genalemang. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. Dumelang. Thank you so much, MC. My role today is simple: to welcome you. Director of Economic Empowerment in the Ministry of Entrepreneurship, Mr. Ronnie Putego, who's here on behalf of Minister Honorable Karabo Khari, Chief Executive Officers here present, CEO Africa Roundtable board members and staff, distinguished guests, the media, good morning. I'm happy to welcome each one of you here today. My name is Trifina Dongwanakinalimang, and I am the chairperson of CEO Africa Roundtable Botswana chapter. I'm also the founder and managing director of Weekend Post newspaper, a weekly publication that we all know here in Botswana. I want to express my heartfelt thanks to all of you for joining us today. It is with immense pride and optimism that I stand before you today to partake in the groundbreaking launch of the CEO Africa Roundtable Botswana chapter, a milestone event under the fitting theme, championing economic development across Africa through smart partnership. Today, you can look forward to inspiring speeches, engaging deliberations, and some outstanding presentation from our partners. The launch of the CEO Africa Roundtable Botswana chapter opens a channel of dialogue, a platform where business leaders and government officials come together, exchange ideas, share insight, and build strategies that reflect on the development of economic and investment opportunities. The Botswana chapter launch aims to bring together business leaders, both in government and in private sector, into a common goal of economic development. The chapter has a dedicated team to deliver on this mandate. I therefore invite you all to engage, inquire, and learn more about the benefits of being a member of the CEO Africa Roundtable. Thank you once again for being here, and I welcome you all.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and congratulations on the interim appointment. We believe we shall make it permanent, right? You have to speak up, the boss lady. Yeah? No, thank you very much, Tri. Well done, and well done to your team. I know it wasn't easy, and it's something that you've been talking about for a while. So congratulations to you and the team. Kindly give them a round of applause. She spoke about championing economic development across Africa through smart partnerships. I see a lot of colleagues here who are coming from multinationals. And those multinationals, yes, hi, Steph. And those multinationals were largely built around such partnerships, around such platforms. So if we are going to build corporations and behemoths within business that are trading across Africa, we do need such platforms. So I trust that you're going to embrace this platform. You're going to really take advantage of it to make sure that it becomes a success, not only in Botswana, but across the African continent. With that being said, to give us the opening remarks, the board chair of CEO Africa, Mr. Oswald Bina, a round of applause for the board chair.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Director of Ceremonies, I am very comfortable. I didn't have to move the mic too much like I always do. And apparently when technologies start abusing you, sometimes it abuses you at the wrong platform. I'm trying to get back my speech, and my computer says, no, you must be able to do certain things first. My name is Oswald Bina. I am a Zimbabwean national, but an African that has been part of the team that's consummated the idea of the CEO Africa Roundtable. I'm an entrepreneur in Zimbabwe. I run an engineering company. We employ competencies in mechanical, electrical, and construction in Zimbabwe. We are an equal opportunity employer. We are influencing and affecting families back home. And I believe coming to Botswana is not a mistake. We want to be part of this family. And again, I'm also a former president of the Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce. I led the Association of SADC Chambers of Commerce and Industry. My secretariat was here in Botswana. I was working very closely with Business Botswana then. Norman, Maria, so that was my team. Allow me to recognize Director of Ceremonies and the Minister in the government of Botswana, Minister responsible for entrepreneurship, ably represented by the Director. I have already given him my birth certificate. Your Excellency, the Ambassador of Zimbabwe to Botswana, and all embassy staff here present, all government officials, our esteemed chairperson, Trifina, the vice chairperson, and members of your team, CEO Africa Roundtable board members, Mr. Kenias Mafukidze, CEO Africa Roundtable Chief Executive, Mr. Kipson Gundani, and your team, esteemed members of the media, our esteemed members and potential members, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you today with great excitement, anticipation, as we embark on a new journey in the vibrant economy of Botswana. That being part of the CEO Africa Roundtable regional expansion drive has brought us immense opportunities as a platform. It is with immense pleasure that I welcome you all and would like to declare our presence as a business platform here in Botswana, anchored on the interaction of CEOs and senior executives across the length and breadth of the continent. And these are from both private and public sectors, aimed at championing inclusive and sustainable growth and development across the continent. This will culminate in unprecedented opportunities for growth, collaboration, and innovation across the African landscape. Africa, with its rich natural heritage, diverse economies, and a young and dynamic population, is a continent brimming with immense potential. However, I would like to throw a few figures to highlight our true position on the global perspective. With an estimated GDP of slightly above $3 trillion. Africa contributes less than 3%. That's our positioning in the global economics landscape. Besides trade being the main vehicle for Africa's participation to the global economy, the continent's intra-regional trade stands around 15%, and most economies remain net importers. The continent is characterized by high levels of poverty, dependence, public debt, corruption, inequalities. As a way of alleviating this motivated the existence of the CEO Africa Roundtable to be able to contribute and influence a change that will locate Africa as an equal opportunity employer in global economics. Ladies and gentlemen, through this platform, we seek to foster an environment that encourages entrepreneurship, facilitates knowledge exchange, and drives sustainable development. We aim to connect local businesses with global markets, empowering these businesses to thrive and compete on an international scale. Botswana's GDP is estimated to be about $22 billion. You can correct me if I'm wrong. And this represents less than 1% of the African GDP. It is insignificant at global level. However, through leveraging technology and embracing digital transformation, we will bridge the gaps and overcome the barriers to unlock Africa's untapped potential. Botswana is best known for diamond mining, and the million-dollar question is, how much are we creating through value addition of this mineral resource? Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO Africa Roundtable has long been recognized as a premier platform for business leaders, entrepreneurs, and policymakers across the African continent to come together, share insights, and address the challenges and opportunities that lie before us. Today, we expand our footprint into this unique destination, a country that has demonstrated a remarkable resilience, vision, and determination in driving economic development. I'm a student of governance, and one of the things that continue to come in terms of academic information on Botswana is the level, exceptional level of governance, particularly as you manage your mineral resources. The whole continent, if you didn't know, learns a lot from the template Botswana uses. However, the platform CEO Africa Roundtable would like to influence, would like to present opportunities for Botswana to tell its own story within global economics. Whatever achievements we've made today, we need to ensure that we have trebled those achievements within a record time. So through this platform, we aim to provide space for dialogue and collaboration. That is the essence of this platform. We are apolitical. That's why we say it's a platform for public and private sector executives. We want to grow the cake. We want to expand economies of scale. We want to access the necessary investments, not only in public projects, but most importantly, in your individual businesses. We want to create a platform. Whenever you are in Malawi, you have an office that will entertain you. Whenever you are in Zimbabwe, you've got an office that will give you facilities. If you are in Zambia, you've got an office that will interact with you. We want to ensure that we have created a seamless platform around which Botswana is a local market from Zambia. Zimbabwe is a local market from Botswana. Whichever case, in whichever area, in whichever sector, you need to exploit the opportunities across the continent. I have got a very competent and able CEO who's going to try and package this more deeply than I can. I'm here only to say that I present a leadership face to this whole big, multifaceted platform for each and every one of us to exploit. The dilemma we have in Africa, colleagues, is a dilemma of a silo mentality. We are so comfortable in our little corners with complicated and sophisticated names, high-value names that have no underpinning in terms of the bottom line. I want us to break out of that mentality today. We want to create billionaires out of Botswana, self-made billionaires, people that are going to influence the world in the East, in the West, and most importantly in Africa. Whatever we have been in Africa has not been a true reflection of ourselves. I think it's now time that we stand up and be counted. We want to destroy the physical boundaries. It is important to acknowledge that technologies have come. I was talking to my son last week. He said, "Dad, ask me any question. In 10 minutes, I'll give you a response." I'm a PhD student right now, and I thought, let me talk about liberalism, realism, whatever you want to call it, in international relations. And the guy, in 5 minutes, he had given me 500 words around liberalism and realism. I said, what's going on? The guy just went to chat something and asked it a question, then the thing just went, gave him all the questions. Colleagues, it demonstrates that the world is getting much more simpler. It's getting much more easier to do things. And we are saying on this platform, we want to create competent entrepreneurs who are able to use those developments across the world to be able to influence their businesses, their communities, their nations in terms of coming up with homegrown solutions to the multiplicity of problems that we continue to face at each corner of our continent. So I stand before you, colleagues, to invite you, for those that have not signed up, this is your home. I am now your friend. My number in Zimbabwe will be beamed anytime during the day or during the night. You call that number. It means you have a problem in Zimbabwe solved, a problem in Zambia solved, a problem in Rwanda solved. I'm talking about these countries because we already have presence. Ladies and gentlemen, Trifina and team, congratulations on such a huge feat. Let me end by saying, Trifina, I've gone in many jurisdictions. It's very rare to go into a jurisdiction and see a woman that raises their hand and say, I'm available. Not many. You got all my respect, and the Roundtable will give you such a platform. Congratulations, my dear sister, and all the best. I stand. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Chair. Thank you for those kind remarks. And as the world gets more complicated and as technology evolves, I'm sure now your PhD is going to be summarized by ChatGPT into a 2-liner. So you need to be ready for that reality. However, congratulations to yourself. As successful as you are as a businessman, you continue learning. I think you speak very well to the quote there by Warren Buffett. Continue investing in yourself and growing. So we wish you well. We hope you can defend that dissertation. And we want to see it after and address you as doctor. A round of applause for our board chair. He spoke about how well-versed the roundtable has become. And very central to this is our CEO, who's going to be giving us the full value proposition of the Africa Roundtable. Mr. Gibson Gundanai, a round of applause for him.
Dumelang, I got it right. Greetings from Africa. Like said, my name is Gibson Gundani. I'm the CEO of CEO Africa Roundtable. Let me write on the protocol that has already been established for the fear of mispronouncing certain names. I don't want to run away from this great city of Gabs when I've called people names that do not belong to them. I have got a few slides that I want beamed, the media team. If you can kindly do so, I will be the happiest man on earth. But before I go to the slides, I came here sometime last year, Trefina, during the US-Africa Business Summit, and I came with one purpose. I was looking for a champion, a local champion within Botswana, who can champion CEO Africa Roundtable here. So I spoke to many executives from Botswana that I met there until I eventually bumped into Trifina. We are not only looking at Zimbabwe, we are looking at the continent at large. And we are also looking for sons and daughters of Africa that may be dotted elsewhere across the globe. So, and the other key word is round table. What it simply means, when you guys are sitting on a round table as you speak right now, and there's one common feature about a round table, you've got access to every corner of the round table. Yes, a round table has got corners. You've got access to every corner of the round table. What it means, it's supposed to give you equal access to everyone that is sitting around the table. So this is an opportunity of equal access. We are trying to break the barriers that ordinarily exist in our society, in the areas of our work, to say, if we open up and have access to each other 24/7, the opportunities, the momentum that can be created out of it is enormous, it's unimaginable. So those are the keywords that defines us. That's our mantra. That's our understanding to say, when we sit around a round table, we expand the possibility frontiers as a people. So the first slide, we define ourselves as a platform. This therefore means it is a platform where you guys come to do what you know best. We come from the premise that naturally a human being suffers from what we call the axiom of greediness. More is always better, all right? So we believe that a human being, until one dies, is in a constant pursuit for success. And this is a platform that is there to leverage on others as you embark on your journey to succeed. We're institutionalized in 2018 in Zimbabwe, and we have since moved into other countries, which I'm going to talk about later on. And we are membership driven. Our members, they cut across all sectors of economies. They also cut across the divide between the public and private sector, meaning to say you can be a permanent secretary in a ministry and still be a member of the roundtable, or you can be an MD of purely private sector setup and still be a member of the roundtable. We break those silos, those barriers. The pastor said a very strong term when he came up here. He said, iron sharpens iron, and he attributed that to the Bible. It's exactly also what the roundtable seeks to do. We believe that you are an iron in your own right, but you need a fellow iron to sharpen you. And this is where great minds, strong people, ambitious people really meet to sharpen each other and make each other a better version of ourselves. So, can you move to the next slide? You cannot play a slideshow. All right. So what do we exist for? When I was speaking to the Botswana team yesterday, and I was trying to summarize what the roundtable is all about, I said this is a platform of opportunities, yes, but who are the carriers of opportunities? Opportunities are carried by people. So when you ask me, even when I'm sleeping, with what business do you do? I will tell you that our business is to connect people. So in summary, the roundtable is all about connecting people across the globe. We believe that when people meet, then opportunities can be discussed. Transactions can happen. One day, in one of the activities that we do at the roundtable, I was sitting in Washington, D.C. There's a certain black American who approached me and said, you know, the story of Zimbabwe. We know the story of Zimbabwe. He approached me and said, yeah, man, well, you know, Americans are very aggressive and candid. They speak straight to the point. He said, what is the biggest asset that you have? I said, oh, perhaps I've got a little house. And I said, oh, but I hear there are vast tracts of land in Africa. Do you have land? He said, yeah, I do have land, but it's communal land. How big is it? I said, it's about 20 or so hectares of land. So what do you do there? I said, I do small farming. I've got a few cows and some goats for subsistence purposes. Then he said, you know what, do you mind if I can give you my house in Washington, D.C., and you give me that land? And I said, house in Washington, D.C.? Who wouldn't jump for that? I said, of course. So you know what? This is the problem with the many people that come down from Africa. You don't know what you possess. Land to him was a precious deal that you could do wonders with. All right? For me, I never realized that I was sitting on a gold mine in the form of this particular land. So at the round table, it's all a question of using what you have to get what you want. So what we have in Africa, we've got the people, we've got the land, we've got the resources, we've got the fairly good climate conditions, and we are saying let's come together and unleash the potential that is embedded within our blessings from the Lord, and make Africa a better place. There is no reason whatsoever to have a country in Africa with a GDP per capita of less than $1,000. There's no reason whatsoever why Africa is poor, yet so rich. So it needs champions. So CEO Africa Roundtable is a team of champions. You are not coming to the roundtable to only get. You are coming to the roundtable to also give. So you are a champion in your own right, coming together to collectively champion economic development across Africa. And we do so through smart partnerships. Hence our theme, championing economic development across Africa through smart partnerships. When economies develop, so does its people. So that is the pinnacle of the roundtable. So how do we champion economic development? How do we connect people? How do we unleash opportunities? We therefore do a number of activities across the calendar. We do a number of activities across Africa. We do a number of activities across the globe. And these are some of the activities that we do, which I'm going to explain here. The first one, which is Is that the slide? Or you skipped another slide? No, down? No, up, sorry. Right, no, right, that's the one I want. Thank you. So, one major set of activities that we do are called strategic roundtables. Strategic roundtables, this is whereby people meet for a common purpose. All right? So it's carefully defined to meet a specific strategic objectives. And we do these roundtables across the globe, and they take various formats depending on the need and depending on the issue at the end at that particular point in time. But the biggest roundtable that we have ever hosted as a country is our annual gathering, which we call the CO Africa Annual Roundtable. We have traditionally hosted this roundtable in Victoria Falls. Trefina was part of it last year. And it's attended by the who and who's of our membership and also our stakeholders, including the head of state. The purpose of that is purely to discuss the emerging and the things that shape the world of business today. On average, we get attendance of over 400 participants, CEOs, but our dream is to grow this platform to over 2,000 participants across the entire world. At the very center of this roundtable is to discuss what I can term, for a lack of a better term, project. So it is a projectized kind of gathering where people come to fish whatever they are looking for from their peers. You could be looking for investment into your entity. You could be looking for machinery. You could be looking for markets. You could be looking for clients. This is the platform to be. So the platform is characterized by what we call deal rooms, all right, where we specifically design the program to meet your peculiar needs as a delegate. So it is based on a fair understanding of who the participants are. So we carefully and deliberately let you know as a delegate who else is attending and why are they attending, to allow a seamless matchmaking process. So there's very little talk. Yes, we do talk, presentations and this and that. But the whole idea is to allow you to meet the many executives that you would otherwise take a year to meet, but you meet them in one room. All right? So we are trying to give you the opportunity to talk to as many customers, many partners at a go. And that's the strategic thrust of it. It's a strategic to you, not to us. All right? Then the second aspect that we do is expert panel discussions. He talked about ChatGPT. There's also other emerging issues. Artificial intelligence is here to stay. ESGs, so many other emerging issues. As a leader of an entity, there's nothing that beats you being informed. We are living in a world of knowledge. These are knowledge economies. You need to get informed. So at the roundtable, we do provide those expert panel discussions over these emerging issues so that we keep our members abreast of current matters that are shaping the world of business. We do this in person. We do this virtually. It can take every form. So you don't need to be physically present to access this. You can access them virtually from time to time. We also do promote what are called strategic partnerships. So as a roundtable since 2018, we've established partnerships across the globe, both in Africa, in America, in the Middle East, and so forth. So for instance, in the United States, we've got a partnership arrangement or an MOU, a working arrangement with the Corporate Council on Africa, who are the custodians of the US-Africa Business Summit, where President Masisi was a few days back in Texas. We work with them. I was supposed to be in Texas, but because of this, I was there. We have also a partnership with the Atlanta Black Business Chamber. They visited Zimbabwe and Zambia a few weeks back. I think we signed about 8 deals cutting across a number of sectors, renewable energy, real estate, and so forth. We also, I will be in Chicago perhaps in a week's time to do another partnership arrangement with the Chicago Black Business Council. We also have got a partnership with the Dubai Chamber of Commerce. We are a regular participant in the Global Business Forum. We've got partnership with the Netherlands African Business Council, and we've got a program that we do once every year. These are some of the partnerships that we have. Why these partnerships? We are trying to create an avenue that if a member of South Africa Roundtable has got an interest in Netherlands, you have got an office to go to and get all the information that you need at a go. All right? So that's the whole idea. That's the strategic partnerships that we are talking about. But still within that leg, we also promote what we call group economics. This is what my chairman was trying to talk about, breaking the silo mentality. Some of the things that we look for, we realized that we spend lots of time looking for them because we want to own it all. All right? So at the roundtable, we promote working together, pulling resources together to champion a specific cause. For instance, the roundtable in Harare has got a property fund, which they call Pundutso Capital. This is where members come together, pull resources together for the purposes of real estate investment. So this is also another cornerstone of the roundtable where members come together to build a railway line. Why should you look for Italian capital to build a railway line? You can come together and build the railway line as members of the roundtable and run it. All right? You can come together and open a dairy farm. I know Botswana has got a lot of cattle. I almost hit one when I was coming here yesterday. So we promote, we encourage our members to work together, to form consortiums. I don't want to go into examples, but you discover that some of the biggest world enterprises that we see today, they were created by friends that came together as an idea, develop it, work on it, and these are some of the companies that we are proud to use their gadgets today. So the same can also happen from Africa. It just requires us to come together, consummate the idea, run it. So at the roundtable, we promote this family concept kind of thing to say, let's come together, let's work together, let's invest together, let's make money together, and we call it group economics, and it's part of the smart partnerships pillar of the roundtable. Next slide. High-level working groups. Africa has got so many problems, and those problems require solutions. So from time to time, we form working groups to find a solution to a particular challenge that we are facing as a continent. For example, right now we have got climate change issues. There is no harm to have a climate change working group at the roundtable that can even advise heads of state. Because these are real issues that affect your life, that affect your business, and you have to play a role in resolving those kind of challenges. So from time to time, we scan the environments that we operate in. We pick challenges that we think we can provide an opinion on, and we form working groups to advise who would be authorities to deal with that. So this is some of the things that we do as a roundtable, and this can be done at country level and can also be done at continental level. So I think Trifina and team will be assist with some of these things, because I know Botswana is a very great country, very stable macroeconomic environment, but it doesn't mean it's insulated from challenges. So it's also an opportunity to pick up those challenges, form working groups, and provide expert, well-opinionated advice to who would be authorities. Deal structuring, I talked about this. You are at the roundtable to make money. I always tell members of the roundtable whenever they join the roundtable to say, if you are not going to make an additional dollar from your membership of the roundtable, then cease to be a member. That's the hallmark of coming here. you have to improve your revenue base. You have to improve your bottom line, because we are giving you access to more customers. We are giving you access to more capital. We are giving you access to more opportunities. So it should be incumbent upon you to make it your number one priority, to make it your number one agenda, to join the roundtable with a specific purpose to make money, with a specific purpose to do deals. So deal structuring, we've got a deals office at the HQ in Harare with a qualified development finance guy, where if you have got your project, that is, could be looking for finance, looking for a market, or looking for anything that is sought for. You come to this pool of more than 1,000 members, and we fish from them. Chances are high that you'll get a suitor from that pool. And the roundtable can advise and facilitate that deal to happen. And we call that deal structuring. So at the very pith of the roundtable is deals, 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 deals. We are trying to find a solution to your business challenge in that particular format. Trade missions. We understand that Africa operates in a global village. So we do trade and investment missions to various destinations across the globe. We've done missions to the Middle East, to America, to Europe, and even within Africa itself. But these trade missions are mainly informed by what members want. If you have got a good number of members that are looking for opportunities in Brazil, the roundtable can facilitate a mission to Brazil. These missions could be exploratory, could be anything, depending on what the members want. The whole idea is to open the avenue and the opportunity to do so as a group, because we understand that if you do it as a group, you do it at a lower cost than going solo. So that's the whole essence of this particular trade missions. Next slide. Next slide, sir. So to date, we started in Zimbabwe in 2018, though activities of the roundtable date back to as far as 2009. And the man who consummated this idea is in the room. He will speak for himself when he comes up here in some panel discussion. But we started in Zimbabwe, and in Zimbabwe now we sit at over 700 members of the roundtable. And these members, they cut across both public and private sector, and we are very happy about that. We also launched another chapter in Malawi in the year 2022. Yes, another chapter in Malawi, which is fairly doing very well. We launched Zambia last year. It's also doing very well. Actually, they had their annual roundtable a month back. It's doing pretty well. And the Zambia office is expanding into DR Congo. We gave them the mandate to expand into Congo. We are here in Botswana today, launching another chapter. Our next destination is Rwanda, already registered. We will be launching it in July. We have got MOUs with the CEO Summit Uganda and CEO Roundtable Tanzania. Already there are platforms similar to us already registered there. So there's no point of setting up another structure, but certainly to then work together to push the common agenda. So that's the roundtable to date. Our aim is to have a whole continental footprint. We want to be every part of the continent. So we'll be moving sporadically across the continent. And certainly we'll task Botswana perhaps to then expand into Namibia and touch Namibia, expand into Lesotho and Swaziland. Because of the SACU connection, it becomes easier to do so. So we'll certainly leverage on that. Next slide. This is what, Chairman, we're talking about. We are slightly over $3 trillion economy as an Africa continent. The whole world, I think, is about 85 trillion. So that probably gives you about 3.5% share of the global economic output. Chicken change. But certainly we can do better as a continent, can't we? So the whole idea is, how do we move from 3 trillion at least to about $10 trillion economy by the year 2050, thereabout, as a continent. This is also espoused by the African Union. How do we grow that, leveraging on what we have? So as a people, we've got a role to play in that matrix. But that's not the most important point to take note of. What is your share as an individual in that cake? What's your share as an individual in that cake? How much is your output as a person, as a direct contribution to that cake? So at the roundtable, we are there to enhance that your direct contribution to that output. That represents money, all right? How much money are you contributing or are you taking from that cake? This is our thrust. So yes, Africa is growing, but are you also growing as an entity, as a citizen of that particular continent? But if you look at the country GDPs of those, you find that we are too small in our own right. Our markets are too small. So at the center of the roundtable is also this whole idea of giving you more access to a greater market by working together. For instance, if I look at the GDP of Zimbabwe, for instance, it's about 47 billion. If I look at Zambia, it's 31 billion. If I look at Botswana, I don't see Botswana there. Can you go up? 22 billion. If you add all those, they begin to make sense. They are giving you a larger market thereof. So, whether you are producing your maheu is the traditional brew, non-alcoholic, in Gaborone. Certainly, your maheu should be consumed in Blantyre. All right? And let's leverage also on this continental free trade area. But it's just a mechanism, it's a framework. It takes people to then do the actual trade. And we are connecting you with the actual people in Blantyre so that you can do the trade in maheu, so that you can do the trade in whatever goods or services that you are producing. You might be an expert in corporate governance based in Gaborone. You're only looking at a $22 billion market, but we want you to be a continental expert in corporate governance and allow people that are sitting in Bangkok to access your services by working as a neatly grouped people of executives across the sectoral divide. Next slide. So that explains the growth trajectory of the roundtable to date. We started with 0 members, and we are where we are right now. Next slide. So I've already spoken about those things. So let me conclude by saying we are here to present an opportunity to you, an opportunity to work together, all right? An opportunity to expand your possibility frontiers, an opportunity to network you with like-minded people across the continent. So this is an opportunity that we present to you, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed executives from Botswana, that we work together to unleash the potential that Africa has. We work together to really see ourselves growing wealthy. So we really envy and aspire that every member of the roundtable becomes very wealthy in that regard. So let me conclude by a quote by a very popular guy. He's American. His name is Henry Ford. I know we have all read about him. He is one of the pioneers in the automobile industry. I think we still drive Ford cars today. You once said, coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. We are here, ladies and gentlemen, to work together. Thank you.
Thank you, the CEO, the group CEO of CEO Africa Roundtable, Mr. Gundani. I'm saying it correctly, right? My apologies about that. Very great person to quote, Henry Ford. I still drive a Ford. I don't know if there's anybody else. So a couple of Ford Rangers in the parking lot, surely, right? Yeah, no, I believe we still drive Fords. And as the father of, you'd say, modern day work week and operational models that we currently employ in our organization, he's a very pivotal man to keep looking back at when we are thinking about Africa's industrialization. I like the fact that the group CEO mentioned the Africa Free Trade Agreement at every opportunity. I think it's something that we need to actively try and benefit from, try and leverage and try and extend as the business community. I know there are people here from multiple industries. I know I'm seeing some people from the property space, the health space, banking, media, and all these CEOs. And I believe there is something that we can extend and get from the next African country that they're doing better than us or that we can teach them, right? So with that being said, I'm going to be inviting our keynote speaker to give us the keynote address. Kindly give a round of applause for the Director of Economic Empowerment in the Ministry of Entrepreneurship, Mr. Roni Putero.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You know, after a couple of speakers, they've said their words, then you are the next one. It's either you raise the bar or it's the beginning of a very funny joke. But, you know, I believe I'm very grateful to be here today, standing in on behalf of our Honorable Minister and also on behalf of our Permanent Secretary. But it's quite important that we are here also representing the government of Botswana. I think that is what it's quite key. Distinguished guests, fellow entrepreneurs, esteemed colleagues from private and also public sector, let me say protocol observed, and good morning once again. Well, it is an honor to stand before you today at an inaugural launch of the CEO Africa Roundtable Botswana chapter, an event that significantly marks a new chapter in the annals of economic development and entrepreneurial spirit across our great continent, and more especially in Botswana, considering the fact that I think CEO Africa came at the right time, considering that also in Botswana we actually, this Ministry of Entrepreneurship is fairly new. It's just around about 2 years old, moving into 3 now. So I think it's a very good coincidence that CEO Africa also came in, because our aim also is to promote the spirit of entrepreneurship and business development. So I think you did very well. Botswana, chairperson of the CEO Africa Roundtable. Today we gather under the theme Championing Economic Development Across Africa Through Smart Partnerships. And this theme, not just a call to action, but a reminder that of an incredible power of unity and collective effort in overcoming the myriad challenges that we face, seizing the myriad opportunities that lie before us. The CEO, the group CEO just mentioned the AFCFTA. This is something that Botswana also is part of, and would really like to leverage on this, especially that the CEO Roundtable Africa, it's growing now, so this is something that we are quite happy about. The establishment of the CEO Africa Roundtable chapter is a testament to our commitment to strengthening the ties between government and the private sector. Like I said, the Ministry of Entrepreneurship is not just the ministry that is just going to be acting as business as usual. We are going commercial. So that's something that we would like to, all our programs, we're leveraging on the private sector to actually lead them. As the ministry, or from representing government, we are aware of the importance of enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Our government is dedicated to creating policies that support economic diversification and encourage investment. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you about the policies that we are developing and everything else, but the most important thing is that as Ministry of Entrepreneurship, we are actually working hard in terms of easing the ease of doing business in Botswana. So as much as we see CEO Africa Roundtable comes in here, we're expecting a lot of different business people to come in, and they should be, it should be easier to invest in Botswana as compared to what it was before the ministry was actually formed. In fostering these policies, we aim to address specific challenges such as access to finance, improvement of trade regulations, like I said, easing of business, and also the enhancement of entrepreneurial skills amongst our youth, women, and ensuring that they are at the forefront of our development agenda. And once again, we are quite happy to see that this actually milestone is led by a woman. Moreover, our dedication extends to improving infrastructure, ensuring good governance. I think what is very critical with a lot of programs that are coming in, what we need to ensure is that there is actually good governance and also abiding by the rule of law, as well as fostering an environment where innovation can flourish without undue constraints. Mr. Chairman, I think you should start embracing ChatGPT, yeah? We recognize that these elements are crucial for attracting smart partnerships and investment that will fuel the growth of our economy. I think I'm one big believer in strategic partnerships. If you look at the pin that I'm wearing, this is Sustainable Development Goals. And goal number 17 actually speaks about partnerships. So we are actually riding on that, CEO Africa. The CEO Africa Roundtable provides a unique opportunity for leaders from various sectors to share insights, forge alliances, and advocate for policies that benefit the broader business community and the entire continent at large. I could not have spoken much better, as the group CEO have just explained what the CEO Africa Roundtable does. Through platforms like this, we can highlight the significant strides taken by the African nations in improving businesses or business climate and demonstrate our readiness to engage with the global business community as equal partners. And I'm pretty happy that Botswana is actually, participating in these forums and also taking advantage of this. I was actually quite worried to see some tangible outputs that are coming out of these forums. Like he was saying, there was a US-Africa summit that we had last year, and this is something that came out of it. So I'm pretty happy for that, actually. And this year also, I think for 3 consecutive years, we did also host Forbes Under 30, the Africa version, here in Botswana. So I'm looking forward to at least see some sort of something coming out of that as well. Yes. In addition to policy advocacy, this roundtables enables us to learn from each other's experiences and challenges. I think what's most important is that in the world of business and also entrepreneurship, I think the key word there is risk, and also a risk, it comes with challenges. But when you sit around, I saw when this group CEO was presenting, there's a part where there is expert panel discussions. This is where you learn quite a lot from different experts. Particularly that we do have like new emerging challenges. There's climate climate change at the center of it. But if you look at who's contributing more in climate change, it's not us, the African nations, right? But we are actually the ones that are actually feeling the heat more than anyone else, right? So I think we need this sort of group of people to come together, especially business people, to lead this fight. By collaborating, sharing knowledge, and coordinating efforts, we can scale solutions that catalyze development more rapidly and effectively than we could alone. I think it's quite important that the Botswana CEO of the CEO Africa Roundtable should also now look into collaborations with the other neighboring countries on how to leverage on their expertise as well. We are committed to leveraging such platforms to listen to the voices of entrepreneurs and to ensure that governance frameworks are not only responsive, but also conducive to sustainable business growth. I live in the space of entrepreneurship, but I was working in an international development organization before, and my observation is that quite a lot of startups or businesses, I don't know whether we are over-mentored and underfunded. I don't know what could be the issue, but what I've recognized is that there is that the value of death, and a lot of our startups or enterprises, they don't actually survive that value of death. So we want to, leverage from this expert group on how we can actually solve that issue. We don't want to be an economy that thrives from just working class, but we want entrepreneurs and business people. As we champion economic development through smart partnerships, let us remember that every discussion had, every connection made, and every partnership forged here at the CEO Africa Roundtable, it's a stepping stone towards a more prosperous and united Africa. I liked the key word within the word or the name of this forum, CEO Africa. The Africa part, I think, is quite key. Like I said, let's forge our strategic partnerships, and also the round table part. I think it breaks barriers of saying there's a top table and there's another table, like we need to ensure that we interact from here onwards going forward, right? I'm excited about what we can accomplish together, and also I would like to plead to the leader of this forum here in Botswana to say the Minister of Entrepreneurship is there, or the government of Botswana is there. We are here to actually support, and we actually welcome such developments. Like I said, we are not only going to be able to do this alone, but we actually need the private sector to be in the forefront of these initiatives. So it is quite something that we are looking forward to. With unwavering commitment and continued collaboration, we can indeed transform our continent into a global powerhouse of innovation and economic growth. Ladies and gentlemen, by these few remarks, I now declare the CEO Africa Roundtable Botswana chapter officially opened.
Kindly allow me to re-invite the board chair, the group CEO, and our interim Botswana chapter chair to come and officially hand over the gift as we officially launch the round table. the official seal, ladies and gentlemen, as you may see it. A great round of applause. Congratulations once again to CEO Africa Roundtable, both as a continental group and the Botswana chapter. I believe that more of these sit-ins are going to take place. And to the director, I like the fact that you highlighted and noted that as an outcome of Botswana's strong MICE strategy, we have an outcome in the chapter for Botswana, coming from the Botswana, the Africa-US conference last year. So congratulations to your ministry and the government in putting together these events. I believe a lot of money will be exchanged, which is the bottom line, right? I know CEOs are here. That's the important part, right? What's at the bottom line? Yeah, one CEO once said, people in accounts like to talk about EBITDA, but there's no money in the bank account. What's the point? So yeah, the bottom line is the main goal, and we hope that the connections that will take place through this forum will lead to greater profitability and will lead to greater success and collaboration on the continent. Now, before we do close the program, we would like to have a bit of a discussion to really expand the conversation around our collaboration as Africans. So we're going to have a panel discussion, a business panel discussion that's just going to be focusing on doing business in Africa. So kindly allow me to invite, they will be to my right. I'm left-handed, so my apologies. They'll be to my right. They will be to my right, and they will be discussing championing economic development across the African continent through smart partnerships. To come lead this panel discussion, kindly allow me to invite, I'll declare my former boss, my very first boss, the interim vice chairperson of CEO Africa Roundtable Botswana, also managing editor at the Weekend Post publication, Mr. Aubrey Lute. Kindly give him a round of applause. You may take your seat, sir. An inspirational, I would say a marvel in the legal space in Botswana and across the African continent. She is the founding partner, CEO at Precious and Partners Legal Practice. Advocate Precious Gondwe. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The Chief Operations Officer at TN Asset Management, Mr. Hasveni Kafunde. I pray I said it correctly. I got a stamp of approval. And then one of our board members at CEO Africa Roundtable, Mr. Kenneth Mafukudze. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we have our floating microphones here. So this is how we're going to do this, because we also have to be conscious of your precious time. My panel of experts here have business experience across different industries across the continent. And they will be having a conversation about a dialogue about championing the economic development across the continent through smart partnerships. What does that look like for us as Africans, and possibly where the opportunities are? So as they do have this discussion, towards the end, you can chime in with a contribution, with a question, to help the conversation going forward. With that being said, Mr. Lute, just check your microphone, sir.
Mic check.
You are very much audible. Yes, over to you, sir.
I'm just mic checking on behalf of women in the room.
And it's an amazing day for women in the room. A round of applause for our women leaders.
Thank you very much, Master of Ceremonies. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I think the discussion here is going to be candid. We've got well-informed business people here, and most importantly, a legal mind she will probably guide us in case we drift outside the boundaries of ethics. So I'll give her the lead because she's an international speaker when it comes to smart partnerships. So I'll give her the lead so that she can actually cultivate the ground for us so that we can walk the path after she has spoken. I'm giving women the lead, okay?
Thank you so much. I was about to say thank you so much. In case we deviate from the core business of today, we'll charge you accordingly. Thank you so much. Let me take this opportunity to thank the leadership of the CEO Roundtable Africa. Mr. Boche, thank you very much for remembering us here in Botswana. Thank you so much also to the CEO of Roundtable Africa for the initiative to meet our very able interim chairperson, Ms. Dongwana. And thank you so much as well, Mr. Lute, for allowing us to have this conversation today. I think we need to give them a round of applause. I also want to thank, obviously, the Director of Entrepreneurship. I think he laid the foundation insofar as our conversation today is really all about. Remember, the theme for this year is really around championing economic development through smart partnerships. And this is goal number 17 in terms of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And I think the key thing to understand, before we can champion economic development, we need to understand what smart partnerships look like. And I'll give my own understanding of what this looks like and what I believe the CEO Roundtable presents to the world or to us Africans. I think that it has, one thing that also our director spoke about was small businesses tend to be sort of thread in a very difficult ground when they are starting up. He called it the valley of death, where small businesses struggle to scale up because they do not leverage on smart partnerships. So my idea of what a smart partnership looks like is where we have partnerships, strategic partnerships that leverage obviously on the expertise, but they are founded on the very principle of trust. They are founded on the very principle of openness. Transparency is key because half the time the big fish tend to more or less zap and clean out the small fish once they're entering into a market. So I believe that for there to be smart partnerships that are sustainable, the vision must also be clear. Shared vision is what will then propel us to be able to leverage on those expert advices or any other transformational or strategic partnerships that we can forge within Botswana or outside Botswana. So that is my definition of what smart partnership would look like. But I think it's also important as an African continent for us to understand that partnership is also really embedded in the person that wants to partner, understanding the vision of their business, understanding the bottom line, where do they want to go, and who do you need within that sort of connection or network in order to propel you to the next level. I'll allow our fellow panelists perhaps to also give a definition or just elaborate on what smart partnership would look like in their sphere of business. Thank you very much. think it's good to clap.
Let's clap for her, please. Thank you very much, Precious. I think I will hand over to Kenyas. We had a conversation last night, and you spoke well to the subject of smart partnerships, especially when it comes to how we as Africans tend to be so divided, which has actually failed us when it comes to the business side of things, compared to those that visit us as expatriates, as investors. What we have observed is that these groups of people who are coming especially from whether it's Asia or the Americas or Europe, when they come to our shores, they actually collaborate. And as they collaborate, they become better than us. They take that which was supposed to be ours. We should have laid claim to it before they arrived. The same way the colonizers took our land, albeit finding us in that land. And centuries later, we are still complaining about how the colonizers took our land, took our economy, took everything. But we have not learned from those mistakes. We continue to be a divided lot. We are competently factional. We are competently very divisive. We think that we can thrive as individuals. But that template has never worked for any of us, whether it's in Zimbabwe, Botswana, Malawi, Uganda, any country. I'm of the notion that we should learn from those that actually took from us. They took from us because they were united. There's a very, very funny kind of historical perspective as to how the name Botswana came about. I don't know if it's factual or it's a myth. Because this Botswana, I read in one of the history books, because I was a very good history student. This name Botswana actually means Botswana, like that disintegrating. We should not give validation to this kind of myths. Let's learn the principles of smart partnerships. Let's learn that in business, you can't do it alone. Myself, Trifina, and two others, we learned, especially during our employment days, that for any project to succeed, we must come together as a team, amalgamate our skills and expertise, and execute. It's been 13 years now running the Weekend Post newspaper. We haven't fought to a point of disintegration. We held together. Not that there can be differences, because differences make you stronger as a business. So, Kenyans, I want you to elaborate more. Tell your audience, tell our guests, how we can avoid these boon googles that we have across the African continent.
Okay.
The floor is yours.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and congratulations to Trifina and team for launching the Roundtable Botswana. I think a big round of applause again. I guess one of the core philosophies of the Roundtable is exactly around that, because I think when you look at the Roundtable, imagine actually two tables, which is quite an analogy that's interesting. So the one table is actually located in hell, and it's a big round pot, and there are people around it. And another one is in heaven, another big round table or round pot. The interesting thing is, around the table, people have got very long spoons. The spoons are very long. And what was interesting was when you went to hell, everybody was hungry and they were not feeding. Because you've got a very long spoon and a deep pot, and you're trying to use the same spoon to feed yourself. But what was fascinating was a short walk to heaven, you realized everyone was happy and full. Why? Because instead of feeding yourself, you fed the person across the table. So when we feed each other, we get stronger. And what has become a sad story of all companies and countries that don't do well, is the issue of greed, the issue of trying to feed yourself first, the issue of trying to make sure that you actually predate on those you should be feeding. And at the core of the success of Africa is our ability to change that philosophy. And we have seen that philosophy failing us time and time again, even in African leadership. The incidents of corruption, the incidents of disintegration. Because when you walk into a room, you are trying to figure out what can you get out of the person next to you. Ladies and gentlemen, that philosophy will not work. And I think to a large extent accounts for the 3.5% contribution we have to the globe. Because you think you get into a room and you feed quickly, but you won't be able to do everything yourself. All the countries that have succeeded have actually fought to stay together. Do you know that more people died in the American Civil War than people who died both in World War I and World War II? Why? Because you have to fight to stay together. So the moment the colonizers came and successfully split our continent into 54 pieces, they had done their work. And for the last 60, 70 years, we've been doing the work ourselves to make sure that I eat his shoe, I take his thing, I take whatever, and you think you are going to get bigger, you will not. You only make progress when you feed the person next to you. So the philosophy we have in the round table is when you walk into a room, the person next to you is not your customer. They are there to benefit from you. Because immediately, do you know, if we have CEOs in the room, right now you can pass business to the person next to you. It's in your decision. Because you're a CEO. That's also why we decided that we need to pivot the CEO around the individual who has decision-making powers. So look at yourself closely and realize how much economic power you have to empower the next person. And I think from a theoretical, philosophical side, that's the concept of the round table. It's a round table with long spoons, but the spoons are not for you to feed yourself. Feed your next person. So Botswana is here to feed Zimbabwe. Botswana is here to feed Namibia, and vice versa. Because that way, the next 10, 20 years, we'll see us going to the 10 trillion that the chairman was talking about. But if we stick to this philosophy of respecting these borders that were imposed on us on highly arbitrary basis, then we will still not only have 3.5, we'll actually shrink. Because guess what? I don't know about here, but when you come to a number of African countries, there are people who have come, particularly from Asia and other places, and they are invading again, taking land. And they are not even going into towns. Now they are going to the rural areas where people are not. So another 10, 15 years, our children's children will actually have absolutely nothing until we are able to talk to each other, build each other, and feed each other. And that is the basis of growth. So the roundtable, like what Kipson is saying, is not a talking place. It's an aggregation of ideas. This table here must, when we come back next year, have a project that's running, that they've linked up with their Zimbabwean partner. They've linked up with their Zambia partner. When we have the continental roundtable, we come together and say, what are the 5, 10 projects that we're going to have within ourselves, using our buying power. I'm sure you've all heard of the Jewish phenomenon, where their money circulates 10, 15, 20 times before it leaves. But what is interesting when a foreign person, normally in Africa, sets up shop in our place, we all leave what we are doing to go and support them, but we are not supporting our own brother. How do we do that? We need to stop that and start supporting each other meaningfully and using the economic muscle we have to build each other. And I think that is the essence of the roundtable. It's a doing platform. It's a platform that puts others before yourself, because that ultimately is the only way that we are going to change this dynamic. And I think we have it within ourselves to be able to actually do that. And you can see now what's happening, particularly when Trump came in and they were talking about American first and everything. It's really to close everybody out. And if we don't do the same by closing Africa in and working in those partnerships and looking out for the next person, then our trajectory will not change for the better. It will actually change for the worse. And I'll leave it for that one.
Thank you, Kinas. I think you can take over.
Thank you. Maybe you are struggling to pronounce my name. It's Zvineika Pfunde. But in a bid to become international...
Excuse me?
Yes.
Come again a bit slower.
Zvineika Pfunde.
Okay.
But in a bid to become international, I prefer people just calling me HK. It's much easier.
HK, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes. It's easier wherever I go. People just call me HK, even in business circles. But I come from business in Zimbabwe. One of the key issues my colleagues have been talking about here is about networking. As Africans, generally, we are very poor at networking. I'm not too sure where we're sitting, how many people have taken time to know the next person. At times we just sit, we have that silo mentality. This conference being here, a goal for state, being a goal for myself, I was very excited, and just linking to what is going on here about networking. Those of you who are golfers know this HNA, which is Handicap Network Africa. Wherever you go, when I actually entered Parker Lane Golf Estate, I was able to see my handicap. I'm actually, when I play the white, I can actually play at handicap number 24. Anywhere in the world. You see, it's just an application on my phone here. I just log, I've got all my details, I just log. So if I want to play golf here, I know my handicap for this particular course. That's what I call networking. I'm sure that's what my colleagues have been saying in terms of having access wherever you go in Africa. When I came yesterday through the airports, it happens through most African airports. I appreciate the crime, the security, but each time they see an African, you are a suspect already. Even when I touched at our local airport here, they had no clue of this event happening here. I had to explain, you know, what are you going for? Of course, I know some other background that is there, but, you know, our people should actually take an effort to know what's happening around. The moment I would have mentioned CEO Africa Roundtable, surely people at the airport should have known this important event happening within our vicinity. So what am I saying? I'm just saying we need to do more as Africans in terms of improving networking, in terms of improving how we can do business. My colleague was talking about cows seeing cattle along the road. When I see cattle, my blood starts running. Right now, just being practical, even for this, maybe through our chairperson here. Late last year, I was here in Gaborone, just doing our homework on a product that involves cattle, which we are pursuing. We would like to set up in Botswana, around Francistown area. So if there are people here, just being practical, maybe through our chair, please, let's get in touch. We're looking for space to establish what we call cattle banking, which is a product that is already running in Zimbabwe for my company. So it's just an encouragement. And I think there's more that we can do together. Thank you.
Thank you very much, HK. I think what you just spoke to in your last sentence speaks to why we are here. I believe that our guests who are here today, they want to have a take-home. They didn't just come here to pass time. In fact, after this event, there should be an assessment of some sort individually as to why you were here and what are you taking home and what can you harness from this event. And we should try at all costs to know what is coming in the near future as far as CEO Africa Botswana chapter is concerned. If you are to truly harness and to truly benefit from these smart partnerships that we are talking about, the networking that we are talking about, HK is speaking to a business idea of which he's already working on. In fact, whoever is being invited, because I'm definitely sure somebody has already picked it up, this person is just going to ride on a wave, because I think the groundwork is already done. So this is what it takes. It takes an initiative. Somebody from the crowd should take that initiative and say, you know what, from here I'm going to engage HK on this subject. And probably there are a number of Francistowners here. It will be easier, actually, if you are a Francistowner, because it will be easier to locate a piece of land or to know somebody who knows somebody who has a piece of land. So this is what it means, taking advantage of platforms such as these, CEO Africa and other forums. So, Precious, what can you say relatedly to what HK mentioned in terms of issues at the airport? Because he's not the first person to actually complain about this. I remember at that time I was in South Africa, somebody else was complaining about South Africans, how they tend to treat the African brothers when they arrive at the airports and stuff. So relating this to smart partnerships, how can this be resolved? Because it's an issue that needs a solution. Absolutely. In Botswana, we have an agenda or a drive that is propelled by His Excellency the President, Dr. Mokgweetsi Masisi, on mindset change. I think that is what it takes. But mindset change is a phrase, just like I'm saying it now. It takes an effort to actually inculcate it to somebody's brain. So what can we do?
I will not have all the answers, but from the top of my head, I recognize that there's a gap in terms of just information sharing. our ability to ensure that as an African people will mobilize resources. And most times when we talk resources, people think resources relate to money or financial resources. I think it's important that we not only constitute ourselves in a manner that a lot of peer education, or at least sending the message out to the most important members of our society, will then propel the message from the CEOs to the executives all the way down. I'm talking about making sure that within our structure, for instance, as Botswana CEO Roundtable, we come back and sit down and identify the different gaps insofar as how partnerships work, whether they are working or not. Do we have networks within our companies, within our businesses? And just to bring that down, for instance, we do not have a national registry as Botswana. I'm not talking about, Omang registration or passport registration. I'm simply talking about a comprehensive database of all the companies and businesses and what they do. BTC will give you that for purposes of getting a telephone line. But are we able to say, for instance, have we been able to reach out to every CEO or every business owner concerning CEO Roundtable Botswana launch? Can we positively say that's been done? So I think the groundwork here is also to ensure that we put ourselves together in a manner that dissemination of information to the pertinent and the relevant people becomes easier. I think we spoke about ChatGPT. We spoke about utilizing AI, social media, for instance. I got to Google a little more about CEO Roundtable, not just from what Botswana has done. I got to learn about what they did in Malawi. I got to know what they're doing in Rwanda. I literally got to know about the board chair, the CEO, even before I met them. So I think another important thing is to ensure that knowledge is shared. One of the things that Africans are always accused of is hoarding information. And that then makes us work in silos. So if I'm running, for instance, Precious and Partners Legal, I'm saying I want to be the CEO for a lifetime. I don't want to get any partners. I don't want to get any strategic investors. I'm looking to myself in order to feed myself from a long spoon, Mr. Mafukidze. And that's impractical because I may be a corporate legal practitioner, but certainly I need the know-how to navigate other investment opportunities. I need to be a part of a network of CEOs that do real estate. I need to have a diverse belong to a diverse network that will allow me to also get to know about opportunities that then I can tap into, not just as a lawyer, but as an entrepreneur. So I think that the CEO Roundtable is also really teaching us and having us go back to the drawing table to do a bit of an audit of what we've been doing, what's been working, what is not working, why are our small companies dying before they even start? And I remember most companies closed during COVID because, of course, government did come in with a bit of, stimulus. They gave allowances where they could. But could they even give us capital to continue to function during lockdown? We didn't have that. The question is, if I had been part of the CEO Roundtable and I understood that from the CEO I could get some sort of capital that I could inject into my business to keep going, that would have enabled my business to grow even bigger. So we need to understand that we cannot function in silos. We need to come together. Information sharing is key. But also, I think it's just generally resources that can be shared. And again, resources do not only speak to finance. It would be information sharing. It could be human capital. Expertise HK, you've already spoken about the cattle bank. I've not seen that in Botswana yet. We've got so many cattle, so much cattle. I think they are more than us in number. So can you imagine what this would do to our economy? So I think it's important to also tap into what others have done and hopefully shape the Africa that we want to see. Thank you.
And this morning, thank you, Precious. And this morning we were receiving more livestock at the airport from Australia. I think I also saw goats. I also saw goats as well. So HK, you've got a market. There's more coming. We're even bringing semen. Yeah. So, but just to speak to what you just alluded to, information sharing. at a personal level, I've got a big concern with us as Africans. You can share as much information as you want with some of our brothers and sisters. Big problem. The reading culture. The reading culture. Our people don't read. Even those who've been to colleges, universities, I'm sorry, they don't read. They are not knowledgeable, especially on current affairs. Without a doubt, for you to be cognizant of opportunities across the spectrum, across the continent, you must be an avid reader. You must be somebody who is interested in knowing. For you to know, you must peruse some pages. You must go online, do a lot of Googling. You must interact with knowledgeable people. With all its flaws, you must also be interactive with the media. You must know all the titles in the country. I mean, if you want to go into business, you are serious about going into business. You know, I've met people who were arriving in Botswana coming from countries like America, Russia. You'll be shocked. The first thing they'll ask for, where can I buy newspapers? They're not interested in the controversy. They just want to have a feel of what is happening in the country. They want to peruse the business pages. We can do a survey across this room and establish the percentage rate of those that read or at least have got a subscription or at least do buy a newspaper once in a while. I can assure you, it will not go beyond 50%. Fact.
Yeah.
It's not only in this room. Go to a university, any university in Botswana. Go into a lecture theater. Do the same survey. In fact, at these learning institutions, as to how many people or how many of those learners actually have interest in reading or going through current affairs issues or newspapers or even listening to a serious radio station or watching a news bulletin. In fact, you may get a 0%. That is how our people are. The mindset change actually should start, I think, from elementary school so that we develop that reading culture. Reading should not just be about reading to pass an exam. You read to be knowledgeable. We train a lot of people in business. They keep that in their heads so that they pass the exam. We release them to the market. They can't execute a single business because they were long done with the reading. You know, today you read a number of newspapers. Some former graduates, or graduates really, are interviewed. They are complaining that they're not getting jobs. There is no employment. There are no opportunities. Find out what they have done for the 5 years they were unemployed. Entertainment. There they can go wrong. Try to establish how much impact have they tried to invest in themselves to actually make themselves employable or at least to be recognizable when opportunities arise. 0. Because it's a culture that we have cultivated, a culture of a wholesome that is lazy to read. That is why it may be a joke or a myth or whatever you may call it, but it's actually true. That if you want to hide money from an African or a Botswana, put it in a book.
That's true. Yeah.
Because it's not a joke. They know. Some of these guys, they've done studies and they know how they do them. Yeah. So we need to take ourselves seriously and learn, read, be knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Even if it just means to be knowledgeable specific to your area of interest, at least you are making an effort.
Yeah.
So
I just
smart
wanted to-
partnership is about that. You can't be a smart partner if you are not knowledgeable.
Yeah, I just wanted to add maybe two things from a practical perspective. The one aspect, I think, I think one of your networks here is Mascom, is it?
Yes.
And I think Mascom was started off by Strive.
Yes.
And what is interesting, he actually started here in 98 before moving even to Zimbabwe to start another one.
Yeah.
And then he went to Nigeria, but roll forward now, I think he's now one of Africa's billionaires.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said about anchoring yourself in Africa, but getting out and getting things done. So I think one of the key things that I know Gibson is working on is the issue of we need a platform. You did mention about the need for AI. I think we need aggressively over the next 3 to 6 months a platform that can crowdfund where we put projects on. I know Gibson has started on it, so that you lodge projects on it and other people within the network can come in and contribute to it and bring their long spoons. And I would urge Gibson and the chair and to push on it. And maybe if Botswana is the center for that, where we anchor it here and it becomes the anchor for crowdfunding and pulling funding across the African continent for people to do projects that can actually be advanced. I think that's one of the key things that I would certainly say, let's push on and let's do it. Thank you.
And actually, just adding to that, Gibson, in fact, last night, he actually elaborated more on that, to the point that through CEO Africa, through partnerships, you've got financial partners who are willing to fund projects that will not end up as boon Googles. Projects that will have impact in Africa. Yes, they can make you a millionaire, a billionaire, but they must have a profound touch on the African continent. So I think Gibson actually, we refer to the CEO of CEO Africa Roundtable, the big man. So he has all the information. So he's got a good relationship with at least 2 big banks as we speak. At an international level. I'm not talking about our guys here. So I think smart partnerships means exactly that, knowing where to go if you want to fund a project.
Mr. Lute, I think time is not very much on our side. And I know this panel itself is quite busy. Some have flights to catch at some point. And explore the continent. So I think what we can do is we can keep this conversation going while we are having some coffee, some breakfast, and then extend this conversation to actual roundtables that the interim chair here will convene at a later date. So with that being said, Aubrey, Precious, HK, Guinness, thank you very much for being an amazing panel. As you travel the world, please keep remembering the Africans and the impact that needs to be made here. And I would like to request that we give them a round of applause for that informative session. Thank you so much to my panel. Quite informative on partnerships, the importance, therefore, why we do need them, why we should be actively seeking them, and the networking in the room. I think somebody made an observation about people sitting next to their friends. Next time I'm going to switch seats. Right? I'll do that. I know in primary school they used to do that and you would hate it. But you realize years on, 30, 40 years on, when your best friend is the guy you are forced to sit next to, that, that's how you do build partnerships. Sometimes you need to force them, right? Ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we have come to the end of our official program for this morning. However, it will be remiss of me not to have officially handed over. I know this is key to government protocol. Mr. Puteroye will correct me. But I think one of the things that we did miss was to officially hand over the guest of honors thank you or token of appreciation. And in principles of good governance and running an open and transparent government, we can't just give it to the director in his car. We need to show you as our audience so that I think the Tswana speakers here will explain to the non-Tswana speakers what that means, right? So with that being said, I'm going to kindly just request the board chair, the group CEO, and our interim Botswana chapter chair to just return here to the front of this stage, or yes, this front of the stage here, as we hand over the official token of appreciation to the Ministry of Entrepreneurship, to Mr. Puteroye. On behalf of CEO Africa Roundtable, would like to thank you and the Ministry for your support and your presence here. And with that being said, a token of appreciation, sir. And then please unwrap it. Declaration. I believe Mr. Puteroye was going to do an official process when he gets there of writing something, Yana, but we also have to do that in the interest of openness. I have a pair of scissors here. Oh, there you go.